Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're going to get started right away, and we're so excited to have you here today. My name is Elisa Evans, and I'm Allie's Director of Operations. It's great to see so many people coming in. Please drop into the chat where you're from so we have an idea of who you are, what you're doing. Would love to see. And feel free to interact in that chat for the course of this talk. Be curious, be kind. We'll have a blast. If we have time for Q&A at the end, we'll address questions left in the Q&A section on Zoom. So we'll try to get to those. I'm going to hand over to Allie in 1 second, but I wanted to give first a 2-second background on our team and how we're AI first. So we pretty urgently pulled this talk together, and I honestly couldn't be more excited. This is my third time working with Allie, so I get to see how Allie's brain works every day. So this is your time for a personal peek inside to really see how we're building an AI first company and the benefits it brings to us. It's completely rewired my approach to work. I get to see amazing, exciting data from our clients as they adopt these techniques. And this isn't generic stuff. This is literally how we do our jobs every single day. So super honored to be here and part of Allie's team. I don't want to waste any more time, so I'll pass it over to Allie. I know you all know who she is and how great she is. She has almost 2 decades of experience, advises top startups and Fortune 500 companies. She founded and ran a multi-billion-dollar business as the global head of ML for startups and VC at AWS, and I actually run the operations for that. And she's the most followed voice in AI for business with over 1 million followers. So, Allie, over to you.
Yowza. I'm also the biggest fangirl of Elisa. So, Elisa, thank you for kicking that off. Welcome, everyone. This is my first ever lightning lesson, and we're going to be talking about how to use AI to 10x your productivity. The big thing that I really want everyone to know just from this title slide is that it's not always about saving time. If it was about saving time, if it was about dropping your, time input by 90%, you would just outsource your entire job. That's the best way to deal with time, right? These gains are not just about time. It's about increasing quality. It's about increasing creativity. It could be a hack or a tip that even just lowers your stress. Okay, so I want you guys, again, as we're moving into this, to start to, unbury your head from just thinking about productivity as time saving. Some quick caveats. Lisa already said we pulled this together literally in the last couple days. So this is going to be fast and messy. I have not timed this. I don't have a script. We're just going to be racing through these slides. Feel free to screenshot whatever you want. Share whatever you want on social media. None of this is confidential. I've blocked out PII. So rock out with that. You guys have a ton in common. We had thousands of people sign up for this webinar, so feel free to meet each other in the comments. We've got people from Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, Oracle, Hilton, General Mills, and a million other companies. Someone's going to find a job during this webinar, I swear. Definitely keep that track going. If I mention a tool, that is not me necessarily endorsing the tool. I am extremely caffeinated right now, so I'm going to be talking fast, which is okay because we are going to be recording this entire webinar. Every single person is going to get the recording. So take as many notes as you can, but it is okay if you miss something or a screenshot goes by and you didn't get it. You'll get that link later today. This is only 30 minutes. I'm not going to make you an AI expert by the end, but hopefully you'll learn at least one thing, maybe several. And before you use any AI tool, regardless of whether I mention it or not, please read the terms of service before use. Just because I use a tool here does not mean that it passes your bar for data privacy or any other concerns that your team might have. So that is list of caveats. Okay, let's get going. This entire presentation does not matter unless you have an AI first mindset. Okay, so as much as I love reading about the, newest AI tool or newest AI app, and obviously I certainly share these things online, it is less about the hottest new model. That's a very downstream action or activity. If you are to change your behavior, like figuring out how to use AI for productivity, it has to be an upstream shift. It has to be a first principles shift. Okay. So this is about building an AI first mindset. And as Elisa mentioned, she's worked for me for 5 years. She knows how, this is an entire mindset shift, but we are building an AI first team. I literally require AI to be used on my team. I test for it in my interview processes. I literally, Miranda, who's also here, I had her screen share ChatGPT and just show me her entire workflow. So there are going to be teams that are not banning it, but actually requiring it. I don't require it for obviously every single workflow, but it is about an upstream decision that you make to turn this into an AI first mindset. So I want to give you a bunch of different examples of the ways that we use AI. This is going to be a lightweight bullet list, and I'm including the tools for each of these so that you guys can get a sense of how we're actually leveraging AI. Then after this, I'm going to be giving you some real examples, some deep dives. If anyone saw my Instagram story last night, you know that I was up until 3 a.m. trying to figure out how to embed a video so I could show you guys real demo. It didn't work, spoiler alert. So everything's a screenshot. But maybe I'll be able to post the videos on social. All right, here we go. Some ways that we're using AI. First, we have a mission statement for our company to say that this is an AI first company. And I know a bunch of folks just see that I post social media content, but I run an AI studio where we're building AI products. We're advising Fortune 500 companies. I advise and invest in top AI startups. I obviously post a lot on social media and give talks, and there's a whole education component to this. So there's a mission statement for that AI first studio, and that is what is trickling down to all these other pieces. We record every single call that we're on. If it's internal, it's automatic. If it's external, we ask for permission. There are two tools that we use. There are several other in this space. Everyone else on my team uses Otter AI. I use Fireflies, but a lot of great tools there. We take walking breaks in the middle of the day. We literally dictate our work into asynchronous tools like Otter or a tool called Async, which has a 5-minute maximum. So if you're doing something long, use Otter. And we will go on this walk and dictate, an entire business memo, an entire email, our entire to-do list, and then use that to then put it into ChatGPT or Claude or any of these to actually get work out of it. We build GPTs like you wouldn't believe for repeated tasks. I've posted this online before, but my team is on ChatGPT Team. It is $30 per person per month. The normal ChatGPT Plus is $20 per person per month. There's also ChatGPT Enterprise if you have at least 150 people. We're on that middle one where it's between 2 people or 3 people, I think, and 150 people. And that has a higher bar for data privacy. Any of the chats does not go back to train the model. So I feel comfortable doing that for my team. And notably, when we build GPTs, it is only for our team. We have a couple that we share publicly, but the majority of them are just for our team. And I'll share one example later on of a real GPT that we built. We use AI research tools like Elicit and Perplexity. We have automation triggers like Slack bots or Zapier. Make.com is very popular. We don't use Make, but a bunch of others do. I have built a hilarious number of Apple shortcuts. I just shared one last week that I built because it was so sunny outside and I was pissed that I missed this beautiful sunny day. And I was, like my apartment doesn't get much light. So I set up a bot that literally texts me if it's above 55 degrees and uses ChatGPT and my preferences to give me a list of 3 things to do that day. So we have these, but for work, we use a ton of AI tools for social media. Descript, I've posted about this one a lot. You can basically edit a video as if it's a podcast, as if it's like editing a Word document. Super easy. I use CapCut for a ton of my social content to automatically generate captions. We use Canva for a lot of our social work. And so those would be some top recommendations. We use AI writing for things like contract creation or business memos. We have rules internally about PII where we're still not putting in PII or client confidential data into these. But the ability to use a GPT that just creates contracts, it's like contract automation. It saves us hours every single time we're having a negotiation. AI speechification for learning. This one we use a little bit less, but there's an app called Speechify that kind of just reads an article out loud, reads an email out loud, so that if you want to turn an article into a podcast, you would use something like Speechify. You can pick the voice, you can have some fun with it, but super, super helpful if you're trying to catch up on something long and you don't want to be at your computer. We use Code Interpreter for mass data analysis. Pretty much everyone on my team is a whiz at data analysis. I still can't remember how to do VLOOKUP. So I use Code Interpreter for things like, what's a Google Sheet formula to be able to do this. We build quick MVPs of products with apps. There are a lot of no-code products out there if you want to use it. I've got Alex Whedon in the chat, who is a brilliant senior MLE who can maybe answer some questions there. And we also do quick web page MVPs when we're building out new things. So this is a very fast walkthrough of a couple of the ways that we're using AI. And I hope that maybe even just this slide alone inspired you for some new use cases. Because this is a big mindset shift, I want to show you some before and after of like what a workflow looked like pre-AI and now with AI. So first example is going to be writing a business memo. Before we had ChatGPT and all these other AI assistants, you would start from a blank page, which I absolutely hate. You should never start from a blank page ever again. That is my trick. You'd have to look through all your old notes. You'd have to find a template. And at Amazon, we would write 6-page papers for everything. And I would have to track it down and see what works, what doesn't. And it was a perfectly fine process. It just took a lot of manual work. And then you'd show it to people, manually incorporate their feedback. And now with AI, we have a GPT that has that existing doc template. We can literally send in tons and tons of context, right? Gemini 1.5 Pro can take in 1 million tokens. So you're able to send in tons of notes, something really messy, and get it to go through this process, create the first draft of the memo. You can then edit it. We also have a GPT just for grammar edits, right? So subtasking and splitting that out. And then another GPT for gap analysis. So things like what's missing, what else should I be adding? And then if you share it with people to get feedback, you can literally take that feedback, put it into the GPT and say, what edits would you suggest? So this is, again, we're talking about workflows here. Another example is summary of customer insights. Again, my days at IBM, my days at Amazon, it always pretty much looked like this. You'd create some sort of SIM ticket to pray and beg for a data analyst who would then go into whatever database you're using or maybe some Salesforce data. They would create a Power BI or Tableau dashboard. You'd have to wait a while. The dashboard maybe wouldn't be spot on. You'd have to then see the draft. It would take a week. And again, that is a perfectly fine process. The eventual dashboard would be good. Your insights would be good. It would only take a week, right? This is way better than what it was 25 years ago. With AI, now what that is looking like is if you start with a spreadsheet, like I was saying with Google Sheets, you can send it into Code Interpreter to get those automated insights or data visualization. My 2-second story here, it's not customer insights, but I hosted a blind dumpling taste test party, and everyone had these score sheets for every single dumpling that they tested from every single place. And I just wanted to be able to send like a recap of what was the best dumpling, whatever. I just sent in all the raw data into Code Interpreter. Obviously, there's no PII because we're talking about dumpling scores, so who cares? And then I auto-generated the email that came out of that, and then I edited to make it, funny and in the Alley voice. But these are, again, efficiency gains that I just don't want to be an expert on Excel formulas. And so I'm still bringing in my creativity. I'm still bringing in my critical thinking, but I'm offloading the piece that is manual, that is repetitive, that I don't want to be an expert in. 2 more examples. One is a thing you cannot easily Google. And this is really about bringing together sources and then consolidating those sources. It's things that when I was growing up, we had to go into the library, find the encyclopedias, find the books on these topics, read the page, right? Flip through a 400-page book to find it. Google certainly changed that from days to hours or minutes. And so maybe it's asking a question like, what generative AI features does Zendesk have, right? And unless Zendesk has written a blog post exactly describing that, you're going to have to read a bunch of sources. Or maybe it's who are the top 10 AI experts in Houston, or what are the best things to do in New York under $100 that have to do with flowers, okay? It's things that a blog post does not perfectly exist. So before AI, before all these AI assistants, and again, AI has been around for decades, but I'm using ChatGPT as the demarcation point. You'd have to Google this topic. You'd have to, search something like Apple News to then consolidate yourself, or search quantum computing to figure out things yourself. You'd have to read all these top links. You would have to do the synthesis. And now you can ask the question in the total natural query way. Okay. And so this is a new skill set that folks are building. Instead of asking, New York best things to do, right? You can just say best things to do under $100 with these certain parameters. And so again, you might not totally be saving 10x or 90% of the time, but your results are going to be much better and much more consolidated across multiple sources. Maybe it's not 2 articles that you'd read manually, it's 20 articles that it was able to scan. Last example, and then I'll give you a framework that's really helped me in some more ideas, is testing a new product course idea and with web and social. So this is combining web design, this is social media creation. Pre ChatGPT, you would write an ad copy from scratch, write social media copy from scratch. A designer would craft this, new website from scratch. And we did this, by the way, when we were launching new courses, like what should be the messaging and how should we go about this? Again, the process was fine, but it would take about a week to start to get some of these drafts together. And so I don't know if folks took my free 5-day AI email course, but that was a brand new landing page, brand new social, brand new everything. And so how did we do that? We had a brand voice GPT that has a ton of Alley posts, right? So it took a ton of effort. I've been writing online for 7, 8 years. So we give it the Alley brand voice. We literally host a live brainstorm with my entire team plus AI live back and forth. So like bringing in AI literally as a teammate into these brainstorms. My designer is in the meeting. This is not after the fact. In the meeting, on screen share, drafting a web page using tools like Wizard, UIZard. There are a bunch of tools like, Figma. We use both. Literally in the meeting, sharing this live page, getting feedback right then and there. Then we're sending to GPTs to, again, regenerate drafts in social posts. We're still manually editing. And so in that exact 1 hour, maybe 2 hour live meeting, instead of just getting the strategy out, we are getting drafts of everything out. So those are some ways that we are actually using AI in our business every single day. And I want to give you guys my craft framework. This is what I give to my clients. And I think the big thing here is that a lot of AI guides or a lot of Instagram posts, including the ones that I post, by the way, will be really niche or narrow use cases like the 4 that I just gave. And a lot um it's a lot easier to make that content, but it can also feel really overwhelming as a listener, a viewer, reader to say like, okay, I totally understand how it looks like in web page development. How do I extrapolate that to everything else that I have to deal with in my life? Right? If I'm talking to my kid, how do I use AI? If I'm in a stressful negotiation with my boss, how do I use AI? It's harder to extrapolate. So I want to give you my framework for that extrapolation, and it is the craft framework because it always has to spell something, right? Okay. There's going to be overlap between these, but this is at least how my brain works. The C is clarity, the R is robustness, A is action. It's so sad that every single time I say A, I just default to saying AI. F is forethought, T is 10x. So in the world of clarity, this is going to be about asking questions, summarization. It's about distilling, transforming, managing crazy, disorganized crap and turning it into something useful. So taking, 1,500 articles and summarizing the top 3 key points, taking 10,000 product descriptions and synthesizing the tone of voice, right? It's that distillation. And one example that we literally did for our AI first mission statement was ask me, this is me prompting ChatGPT, ask me 20 questions to craft this mission statement, right? So it's giving me clarity in the process. I'm still doing the work, I'm still doing the heavy lifting, I'm still doing the editing, but it is providing clarity. R is thinking about additional layers of thought. Again, AI is not perfect. AI is not going to capture every single thing on your mind. This is adding an additional layer. It's taking it from, a B minus that you would have done in an hour to maybe an A minus. But it's that delta that you should be thinking about, not the eventual peak that you hit. So one example, again, I'll give an example, deep dive, is gap analysis, compliance checks, thinking about how this matches up with other data. So I always, I don't know, visually I just go, "Huh," like, what is the one more step? What's the one more consideration we should be thinking of? Action, I'm obsessed with this one. If you've seen any of my tips, I love, love, love this. It would be something like turning a general thought into an action plan. So you can ask ChatGPT or ask any of these AI assistants. And all these AI assistants, by the way, have different pros and cons. So again, ChatGPT is great for some things, not for everything. But maybe I'll say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house in Manhattan in the next 6 months. Create an entire action plan for me with milestones that I should be hitting, KPIs that I should be hitting, questions that I should be asking myself, weekly journaling, whatever. But taking something that you've been wanting to do, it's a very goal-oriented outcome. One of my predictions for the future of AI is that things are moving toward a goal-oriented approach. So give it your goals. Say, I want to have a better relationship with my kids. And here is our, current state, or here's what we're about to do. We're about to go on this vacation to Paris. What should we be doing? So turning that into an action plan, right? Helping it convert that into numbers or decisions. Again, you decide whether you can trust it. Maybe you ask it for 5 options and you pick option 3. It doesn't matter. But this is a really helpful one. Forethought, thinking about downstream implications. This is more like a domino effect, whereas robustness is kind of that one more layer. And 10x, I just go nuts with this. I can bank on that context length, the cost of context lengths plummeting. So right now we have 1 million tokens. Literally a year ago, we had 8,000. Okay. We're going to be getting to a billion token context length. And I believe that the cost is going to drop by 10x, 100x. So knowing that, it's better to plan now for using AI as this tenfold increase. So if we as a team are brainstorming titles for a new course, including this course, by the way, we might give it, hey, here's our 20 ideas, come up with 5 more. Or here's our 20 ideas, come up with 100 more. Here's our guide of how we're creating ideas, come up with 10, right? Give it the seed, give it the anchoring, and let it go freaking nuts. But we literally invite AI as a teammate into these brainstorms, and it has changed how we do our business. Okay. So this is the craft framework. Screenshot it, screenshot it, screenshot it. I'm now going to show you what I would have loved to have shown you in video form, but these are going to be screenshots. Okay. And by the way, I should say, I feel very odd and vulnerable sharing like exactly how I prompt and exactly, I'm going to literally show you like meeting notes from internal meetings that we had. So this is a moment for me, even though I know that I'm just on display for thousands of you. Okay. Deep dive example 1. I'm just going to start with that C. That's clarity. And I've showed this framework before, but I will like give little bits of information. I don't do a prompt that's like one huge paragraph. I break it out into categories that help me also stay focused. So I tend to start it off with some sort of identity or some role for the AI to play. So you are a visionary, yet pragmatic and tactical CEO. You can prompt it with anything here. You are a world-renowned chef in Botswana. You are a 20-time Olympic athlete. Doesn't really matter. That is the identity assignment. You can make this really long. You can make it short. Okay. Then I give it a task. I add a hero task. This is the main, one big sentence. What is the one big thing that AI needs to do for me? So you're going to help me write an AI first mission statement for my company. This, by the way, I did last night. This is not the actual prompt that I gave it, but it's pretty darn close. Then I break it out into subtasks. So again, I had that hero task, and AI does really, really well with like tink, 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 tink. Think of it as a smart intern that you have to give it that step-by-step guide. There are papers that show that this chain of thought reasoning literally helps an AI perform better, telling an AI to think step by step, telling an AI to take a break and take a deep breath and think step by step. All of those improve the performance. And so I give it those subtasks that I want to do. So you're tasked to ask me those questions. Read the examples and guidance below. Internalize this. Like, what does even internalize mean, right? That's a little anthropomorphic. I don't love it. But again, test things out in prompts, see what works, see what doesn't. Then consider the most important questions. I gave it a goal, right? I said to get the most diverse information on my business and the future. I set parameters. Please ask at least 10 questions. I gave my action. I will answer them. Then and only then should you provide 20 options for my mission statement. Okay. So I break it down. I provided context. Maybe it's about what your goals are, maybe it's about who you are, maybe it's about the state of the project that you're working on, maybe it's about a disagreement that your team just had, right? So give it context on the situation. And then I give examples. Sometimes I give guidance, but it's usually examples. This I literally just pulled from online. I tend to be pulling from my previous posts, or I pull from like a transcript that I record, but I feed it all of this. And by the way, this guidance and examples is like 5,000 tokens long. This is a very, very long thing. I just couldn't grab it all on the slide. Okay, so I throw it all in. Then ChatGPT asks me all these questions back. What's your core differentiator? Who are you targeting? What's your vision? I answer all these questions. We're an AI studio. We want to help a billion people. Here's our tone of voice. Here's the thing we're most worried about. ChatGPT then gives me, honestly, pretty crap answers. It's boring. It's generic. I don't like it. I then use that chat function to review, to edit, to update. And I'm like, this writing's generic, right? Leverage this tone of voice from my mission for the mission statement. Here's an example of a newsletter I wrote. If you guys are on my newsletter, this is a newsletter that I sent out this week. Okay. So I added in, my tone of voice, and then it gives me back improved ones, right? But I go back and forth. Okay, so that is clarity. Using AI as a means of gaining clarity on a thing that you are stuck on. We are going to go over 12:30. So if you have a meeting that you got to tell them that you're a little bit late for, do that now. This is worth it, I promise. Deep dive example number 2 is robustness. Okay. As I mentioned, we record every single internal meeting. I'm about to show you actual recap from one of our internal meetings, literally planning for this webinar. This is the most meta presentation I think I've ever given. So this is screenshots from Otter AI on the far left, right? But we are using these tools to generate outlines on the left, to generate transcripts by speaker, that's in the middle, to generate action items, that's on the far right. These will have PII and private information in them. So you want to be thinking through that as a team. And that is what we use this for. Then here's where the robustness comes in. We don't just have this output, right? Super helpful to have an action item. We have a GPT that like automatically generates an email follow-up to a client with action items so that right after the meeting, they have that in their inbox and they don't have that 24-hour delay. But we do one big thing after every big planning meeting, and that is these 4 questions. So either you can ask it inside of Otter AI or any of these things, or you can copy the transcript and ask it to ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or any of these things. But again, please, please, please consider data privacy, terms of service, all of that. Here are the 4 questions that we ask every single time. Are there any legal considerations we haven't taken into account? Financial considerations, product considerations, and user considerations. And because all of these AI systems love to yap, I would say answer this concisely. So we ask these 4 questions. And again, these are not for quick 10-minute strategy sessions. These are when we're chatting for an hour on some big thing. It is worth asking one question to AI to make it's not even measure twice, cut once. It's measure 7 billion data points cut once. Okay. So we take this extra beat to get that layer of robustness, to consider privacy laws, to consider target audience demographics, to consider how are we going to gather feedback so that we can continuously improve the product. Maybe we hadn't considered a feedback mechanism. Okay. So this is our robustness. And again, using AI to keep that in motion, literally bringing AI in as a teammate to help answer these questions. In addition to this, we have a GPT that not only asks these 4 questions and answers them, but also gives mitigation strategies for the top ones that we select. So obviously, it's helpful to get mitigation strategies. This it just ends up being too long. So we'll go back and forth with it. Okay. Those are the deep dive examples. I now want to give to you my school of AI productivity. And this is, I don't have a good analogy other than like, I need you guys to think about how you're going to graduate up this ladder, this staircase. And here is the layout. These are 5 steps. You're going to figure out where you are in this 5, and we're going to figure out how to get you to the next step. Here we go. I'm rambling. Number 1 is just start. If you're joining this webinar because you're my like aunt or cousin or high school friend or something, and you haven't yet used AI, just open up one of these websites. Go to claude.ai, go to chat.openai.com, and just test one of these. I say it starts with kind of crappy prompting, okay? This is what we saw when ChatGPT first came out. Write me a blog about AI, and it would just be some, multi-paragraph. It uses the word delve 100 times, right? Or you'd edit back and forth and say, make it more friendly, and then it would use 100 different emojis, right? Just start. It could be one line. Just start to get a sense of what these systems can do. Number 2, once you graduate from that, you are going to go from kind of crappy prompting into super mega awesome prompting. You are going to do things like what I just showed, breaking down tasks, breaking down subtasks, providing your goals, providing the target audience. I even provide success metrics like KPIs, things like you will know you're successful if, and then I'll write that out. This might change based on platform. Claude, this is still coming out on Twitter, but like Claude supposedly is better at XML. ChatGPT is better at kind of this sort of layout and Markdown. So you have to think about what platform is best for which task. I really like Claude for mimicking my voice. I really like, ChatGPT for other things. So that is the improvement stage. Once you have decided, I'm a prompting expert, I love the output that it gives me. I only have to go back and forth, one time. Okay. The next graduation step is to streamline it. This is, I cannot stand when people write the exact same prompt from scratch. So you're going to create an SOP document, right? And maybe someone on my team can drop in the SOP post that I shared yesterday on LinkedIn about writing my newsletters. You can create GPTs for repeated tasks. Again, make sure that you're not uploading private information there. You can create prompt repos for your team. I've chatted with people who have prompt repos for their families, okay? Where every night, if they're like making a fun game, they'll have a prompt that they share. Elisa and I literally had a ChatGPT karaoke night with our friends that had a prompt that we reused. So you can get a lot more efficiency out of this. I use text replacements on my iPhone for different prompts so that I can do it on the go. And you can also be leveraging AI to write those new prompts. So once you're like, I am so streamlined, I have GPTs out the wazoo, I have every subtask broken down, I know this. I want you to graduate to stacking these and to think of it as a workflow. So in ChatGPT, you can call GPTs one by one. One example that we use is summarize these documents. Great. Now combine it with a transcript and write a post on this. Then, hold on. Yeah, gets me so pumped. I get so thirsty. Then add a hook to this. That's a separate GPT. Then turn this post into a video script. That's a separate GPT. Then create a social post for this script. Find that waterfall effect so that you can leverage each gain. Okay. I think I'm going to hack up a lung. Guys, I'm so excited. Last one. Then, this is very early, by the way, but it is taking it into action mode and actually leveraging AI to do stuff. Okay. Agentive AI is still very, very early. There are a couple tools in this space: Hyperwrite AI, Lindy AI, Adept AI. I'm an investor in Hyperwrite, but I invested because I freaking love the product. So don't expect magic today, but a lot of people are using these things to like make restaurant reservations. I don't know if I'm not a foodie, but I know that these restaurant like lists will open up at 9 o'clock in the morning. People are using AI to make that reservation right then and there. Okay. So maybe next time you're buying Taylor Swift tickets, think about that last step. This is the school of AI productivity. Figure out where you are, graduate to the next one. A couple tips, and then I'm assigning homework. No one's getting out of this without homework, okay? Number one, AI is here to stay. If you are running a business, this is not the time to be banning AI. This is a time to think about adaptation of your workflows. One of the best things that you can do, and what I did when ChatGPT first came out, I reviewed all the tasks that I was doing for, I think I did a week, and I literally just kept a post-it on the side of my desk and was like, wow, I'm spending so much time writing emails. I'm spending so much time, outlining a memo. So keep track of how you're spending your time. AI productivity comes from that AI first mindset and self awareness of how you spend your time today. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but usage drives learning. So do things to make it easier. Bookmark it to your toolbar, set it as your home page. Give yourself a data set or a spreadsheet that you can upload safely that's not leveraging PII. Sign up for newsletters that you're reading about these things. These are some of my tips. When to use AI. If you're doing something 2+ times, just try AI. If you think you could gain, 30% productivity, just try AI. And if you're blocked, just try AI. A lot of us, AI influencers and AI first folks, literally have a post-it on our monitor that says AI question mark, so that you are, again, this is all about building a habit. If you guys haven't read Atomic Habits by James Clear, it is a phenomenal book. Apply that to using AI. Here are your homework options. I want you guys to throw it into the chat which one you're going to be jumping on. This is accountability, okay? These are tactical, step-by-step things that you guys can do so that you leave this webinar feeling so much more productive than you first came in. Here we go. Homework option 1. Behind door number 1, we've got talk to ChatGPT while doing something. I literally have a minimum 10-minute conversation with ChatGPT every morning. It is the weirdest experience in the first couple days, and now I'm used to it. But it's the bottom right of the ChatGPT mobile app. You hit the headphones icon and it's a conversation back and forth. You can select the voice. It's kind of like the movie Her, but do it while your hands are doing something else. Maybe you're walking the dog, maybe you're shopping, you're, making food, you're doing your makeup, whatever. See what happens when you get into this habit. Ask it what to do with your day. Ask it how to manage your task list. All right. That's homework option 1. And I want you guys to post these on social and tag me. I'm excited to see what you guys do. Option number 2, dictate to Otter AI while you're on a walk. Download the app, dictate for minimum 10 minutes, maximum an hour. Copy that transcript, load into ChatGPT, and turn your to-do list into a to-done list. Okay, too hacky, too hacky. Number 3 is building a GPT for a manual or repeated task. So you guys are going to take on one of these, okay? The best GPTs are for really, really small tasks. Things like check this for grammar or turn this, tweet thread into a blog post. Okay, so thinking about one of these 3, throw it into the chat. Which one are you guys going to do? As a thank you for listening to these crazy, crazy fast, I'm hosting an AI for business leaders course. It is the #1 rated AI business course. It is best for executives and business leaders. And so only for the next 24 hours, we are running a $100 off. This is the QR code. So grab your phone, snap a pic, okay? But thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This has been a really, really fun time bringing together a lightning lesson. I feel exposed. I feel vulnerable. I feel also empowered and energized and excited. And I hope that each and every one of you is walking away with at least one thing that you are going to be testing. Whether it is talking to ChatGPT as if you are in the movie Her, whether it's just turning some manual repeated thing into a way more fun, way more low stress situation. I am wonderfully excited for you. So, thank you everyone for joining. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Friday and a great weekend. I'm going to go catch my flight, but thank you so much.